Emma blinked those big innocent eyes like a small kitten, trying to use her cuteness to soften Dad's heart for protection. But Mark suddenly recalled the previous nanny who had an unfortunate incident when she was with Emma, yet Emma coolly replied, "I never even grabbed her wrist, and you still hit her. She fell down. I didn't do anything wrong. As an adult, she ought to know better how to take care of herself." "Emma, do you have any idea what just happened?" Mark shouted in disbelief. Emma was just 9, but she acted like a mini assassin, and as her dad, he had been completely oblivious. Emma tearfully cried, "They were all terrible people. He told me he knew you, Mark, and then everyone was dead the next day. He said he'd put me in this tiny electronic seat and then put the kids inside. She told me she was my mother. Emma, chill out. I don't want a mom at all. Never will I. She took your medications away, and I witnessed it all. She bullied you, and you did nothing." "No, I did. Is that right? Someone has to take action, doesn't he?" Emma looked so calm, like an adult, that it sent chills down Mark's spine, so he started searching online and discovered Emma's symptoms matched those of antisocial personality disorder. She completely disregarded life and others' feelings. Mark's emotional state initially manifested as indifference and cruelty, lacking empathy, and later on could lead to casually killing people, including loved ones. Yet Emma mostly acted like an angel, leaving Mark wondering how she could be connected to a murderer. These Emma's symptoms, Mark took her to a lakeside cabin, hoping that fewer people would make things better for her. But Mark received a call from the police, stating that the teacher and the nanny's deaths were deliberate murders. They had found relevant evidence, just waiting for further tests to identify the killer. Mark, lost and felt hopeless, even starting to have nightmares of a dead cat turning into a floating corpse in the pool. He even dreamt of bloody figures demanding vengeance, and Emma becoming increasingly terrifying, recalling all those innocent lives lost. Mark sank into deep guilt. He wanted to save Emma using medical means. However, after researching various cases, he found that such a bad seed couldn't be cured at all. It would only spiral further out of control. Just as Emma quietly appeared, becoming eerily cold, Mark jumped and quickly shut down his computer. "How can you just hide there, standing still? Are you just going to stare at me? Thanks for staring. Right, Dad? I'm so confused right now. This makes me really sad." That night, Emma quietly closed Mark's bedroom door, turned on the gas, and prepared to send him off. But Mark woke up, smelled the gas, and immediately opened the window, rushing to the kitchen to find all the gas switches wide open. Mark sadly realized that everything he had researched was coming true. Emma wasn't even sparing him, and there she stood in the distance. Their eyes locked. Emma was as cold as ice, and Mark, heartbroken, stepped outside to ask Emma why she was so cruel to her own father. Emma remained silent, thinking, if anything happens, I can live with Angela. At least she thinks I'm a good kid. Mark's heart was tumultuous. This child's abnormality was inherited, making right and wrong elusive. To her, parental love was just a mix of emotions and gestures, while at that moment Mark learned to hide his emotions as well. He reached out his hand, and Emma grasped it effortlessly, showing no fear because in Emma's mind, adults might seem big and strong, but they were utterly foolish. Like Mark, bound by paternal love, he couldn't do evil. After struggling, Mark decided to destroy Emma because he realized Emma's murderous ways would soon get exposed, and she would end up spending her life in a mental hospital or prison. Compared to that kind of punishment, Mark would rather send Emma off in his own way, so he poured out a bottle of sleeping pills. Then he crushed the pills into powder, mixed it into Emma's milk, and took it to her room. The cautious Emma popped the 2 cups of milk while he was out, so when night fell, it was Mark who ended up sleeping the deepest. Mark suddenly woke up, found a gun, and put it into his own hands to stage a fake suicide. Mark extended his hand to grab the gun, but Emma cleverly seized the moment to snatch Mark's phone, swiftly dialing 911, and then she screamed and fled the scene. It is worth noting that Emma had already carefully confirmed the presence of a neighbor next to the cabin before this happened. Surely they would hear her cries in the dead of night. Then Emma followed her plan and waited for Dad to arrive. To incite Dad's rage, Emma had to remain silent, and sure enough, it didn't take long for Mark to scream in unrestrained anger. Emma, open the door, Emma, quickly. Emma, please open the door. Emma. Emma. Mark burst through the door, and Emma cried as if the world was ending, but Mark was already familiar with her tricks.